Hello, friends, and welcome back to Girls Run These Worlds. This is Freezerburnt. We are a Masks a New Generation limited series where every one of our heroes has somewhere in the backstory been fridged, which, if you don't know, it's that old comic book trope where a character, usually female or of other marginalized identity, ends up injured, depowered, or otherwise sidelined in order to promote someone else's character development. But over the course of this series, we are following along to watch as these heroes tell their own story and become a superhero team in their own right. Last time, our heroes, the Defrigerators, found themselves in the lair of Myopius, a now dead supervillain, while investigating a series of mysterious deaths and injuries that started befalling villains all across Halcyon City. But just when our heroes managed to piece some parts of this mystery together, like discovering all the victims had the same small injury, and that one such victim appeared to have traces of the mysterious substance Halcyonium on them, the fantastic hero of Halcyon City, Middleman, who was once Myopius's nemesis and their support group leader, Lenore's ex-fiance, was found dead. Wild. Also, Lee's shitty family is coming to town. Stacy's ex has joined their hero rivals, the Solstice. Raina walked willingly towards their doom, aka her future soulmate. And, Alice is just trying to keep it together and wondering why everyone else keeps having all these dramatic, personal encounters. So there's lots of stuff going on. So it's time for us to get into it. I am Allie. I'm your GM for the day, running us through this incredible system brought to us by Magpie Games. Our lovely castmate Diana Moon, who plays Morena de la Cavalleria, aka Reina, aka Caída Reina, our doomed, is not joining us for today's episode, but is of course here in our hearts. Anita, would you please start us off by introducing yourself and your character, and also telling us something you love from last time or something that you were excited for this time around?
That's me. Hey, everybody. I'm Anita. I use she, her pronouns and they, them pronouns. Tonight I will be playing Stacy Jane, who uses she, her pronouns. Her hero name is Coldcock. And her playbook is the Bull. And gosh, something I'm looking forward to today. This is a really interesting and compelling mystery. And I have enjoyed thinking up theories of just what might be cooking in Allie's twisted little brain. So I'm excited to get to the bottom of this mystery. Um, and with that, I'll toss it to our fearless leader, the one that everybody on the group looks to, and truly an inspiration to us all. Mateo, please.
You humble me. I'm Mateo. I go by she, her. I'm playing Alice, aka Witch. I'm the Nova. Um, and I'm just trying not to explode all the time. Um, I liked all of the tension from last episode and everyone kind of having that boil to the top a little bit. I like seeing everyone's interactions and backstories unfolding a little bit. But yeah, with that, I'll pass it to Alice.
Hi guys, I am Alice, she, they pronouns. I will be playing Lee Daring, they, them pronouns. Lee is our delinquent and is better known as Kyrian. Um, I, of course, love to get into the messy romance that Allie has started setting up for me and surprised me a little bit with starting last week. And of course, the character development of dealing with your shitty parents is exciting. And because unfortunately Diana can't be here tonight, it is my pleasure to pass it right back to Allie.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, before we begin today's issue, I do want to put forward a trigger warning for dead naming and misgendering in this episode. If the RPG timeline goes off as intended, which who knows, this will be during the latter half of the episode, and I'll give another warning post break in case anyone needs that or just wants to be aware. So, with that said, today's issue first begins with a panel of our dear Raina. She is walking down an unfamiliar street, a hoodie sort of pulled up around their face. We can see that her bracelet, that ancient artifact that has been passed to her through Lenore from Dr. Paris Shadows, that mysterious figure, is actively whispering. There are little speech bubbles erupting from it that say, Raina, Adon, where is, I can't, just all over. Her phone buzzes and she looks down to an email from Lenore. Subject line, impromptu the meeting. The first few lines of the email say something like, I decided to hold an unscheduled meeting today because I know things are ... But Raina doesn't open it. She puts her phone back in her pocket and starts walking after a figure who's just entered the street from some sort of magic supply shop. The muscular frame of Adon, aka the henchman El Soldado, who tucks a paper bag under their arm, totally unaware that they're being watched. And our next panel finds us at a familiar location, the top floor of a renovated train station turned office building, aka the meeting place of the Thaw support group, the trauma-informed Halcyonian advocacy workshop, which is the brainchild of Lenore and the place where you all first met. Now, the last time we were here, it was kind of a regular sort of chill session, some intros, some sharing of feelings. Today, it's chaos. In one panel, your fellow support group member, George, has his tanned arms kind of crossed tightly across his body. And he's saying, I'm not going to apologize for being happy that the guy who damned me to literal hell is dead. And in the next panel, Young Mi wheels her carbon fiber chair until she's kind of square with him and says, no one's asking you to, but be sensitive. And in the next, the redheaded girl who was the new girl last time is basically crying and says, it's not just villains anymore. Middleman's gone too, and now my sister won't get in touch. The last panel shows Lenore, who is desperately trying to control the room, but pretty much failing. Like, there's a couple sort of feeble bubbles here and there that say, like, I know we're all scared. Please, if we could just... You all are here as well. I'm wondering, where do we find you three amidst all of this chaos?
Lee has definitely like taken a chair somewhere in the group. But though they're there, they're just kind of like mentally absent. They're probably kind of curled up on, I imagine, these like plain metal chairs, hunched over like a cup of coffee, and their entire demeanor has kind of just not iced everyone out. Um, but they are definitely more interested in whatever is in their cup than the absolute chaos like swarming. They're
Yeah.
the most they have contributed has been like a nod or like a grunt or just some indication that yeah, sure they're listening. Of course. Yep.
Yeah. Great.
I think this time, Witch is bringing Lee the bagel. Um, and she's like, everything good? The atmosphere getting to you?
Not this. Just received some news from my uncle. I don't really talk about, before, and I don't particularly want to talk about it where everyone can hear because that might start another mess.
I understand. Just here, just take this. Uh, I can get you more if you need. I'll be in my usual corner.
Thanks.
um Amazing. Stacey, where are you in all of this?
Um, so what is the context of this meeting? Lenore called an emergency meeting for something, yeah?
Yeah. So essentially, after with the rash of all of the sort of villains who have been found dead or injured, as well as with the new revelation about Middleman, who word is kind of there hasn't been any official statement, but word is sort of starting to get around that maybe that's related somehow. There's basically just been a lot of panic going up in Halcyon City. There are rumors that Middleman might not be the only hero to have become victim, that Middleman just might be the one who is the one that the news has found out about yet. But also, like, a lot of people here are talking about how their villain, or the villain who fridged them, or in some cases the villain wasn't the one who fridged them, but a villain who they knew, or some people have siblings who are villains, like they're the ones who have died or who have become injured, or they're not getting in touch with people. So there's just a lot of emotional chaos going on for pretty much everyone in the group, Lenore included, because obviously both Middleman and Myopius, they were the ones who kind of became the crux of her own fridging. So I think it was intended, or you imagine it was intended as like, yeah, let's all gather together and be in a supportive environment, but it's turned instead to this.
Um, yeah. Okay. I I think that ever since Stacy sort of heard the news about Myopius, her first thought was, oh my goodness, Lenore's ex-fiance. She must be like feeling a lot of things right now. Let me check in on her. And now we've come to like a space with Lenore. Uh, and she is struggling and like in this high tension mode, like trying to calm everyone down, taking responsibility for everyone again. And she just wants everyone to stop yelling at each other. Um, So I think she's gonna like go over to the snack table. If there's any glassware, um, like on the table, she's just going to take it, uh, walk to the center of the room and smash it in the center to try and like get everyone to be quiet.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is obviously, smashing glassware. That's kindergarten stuff for Stacy's powers. So I think you like go over to like the coffee station. There's a bunch of, like just those plain white ceramic mugs, and you can kind of grab a tray of them and just throw it down. And it has the intended effect. I mean, like the whole room just kind of like goes silent, Lenore included, and everyone just kind of like looks over at you.
Um, Miss Caldwell has done a lot for all of us, and now her ex-fiance is dead, and I thought we could be here to sort of support her in the way that she supported all of us. So maybe we can stop yelling at each other for a little while.
Um, that is great. I am gonna say that you are defending Lenore from what's going on here. So I'd love to have you roll to see how well this goes over with the group. Plus savior, please.
Thank God. Um, I don't think my savior is that good. But I did roll 2 6s, so I don't think it matters what my savior is.
Nice.
Yeah, my savior is a -1, but I don't have any conditions marked, so that's an 11, besties.
That's great. Yeah,
God,
I mean,
what are
so
even
you
the moves? I did not come prepared today.
No, I mean that's great. I mean, so basically like that just means that you have sort of kept him safe, and you can add a team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect, or clear a condition as well.
Okay. I'm not really defending the team here. I don't have any conditions, so I think I'm going to take influence over Lenore.
Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that Lenore kind of like smiles gratefully at you for doing this. And then she will sort of say, Stacy's right, everyone. I know I'm not the only person who's gone through something difficult over the past several days. I know that we've all kind of gone through unimaginable things, and that some of those unimaginable feelings are just getting called back up again. But I think that we should focus on being there for each other and not about arguing over what's the best way for us to process these emotions, or it's not a time for arguing. It's a time for us to just be together as a community right now. And all around the room, sort of like people start nodding. Uh a woman in the corner, Kelsey, kind of goes over to Lenore and will sort of like pat her on the back, and sort of, and she doesn't start talking like to the room. She just kind of like starts talking to Lenore quietly, saying like, I know that this must be so hard, and just kind of like continues like offering support. And the rest of the room too, like people sort of start to break off into smaller conversations. You can see even some of the people who were like literally like at each other's throats minutes ago are now turning to each other and being like, hey, how's your wife doing in all of this? Or, like, I hope like, hey, do you want to go get something to eat after this? Because I haven't eaten all day and I'm just realizing. And so people are kind of like breaking into smaller conversations as opposed to the big, eruption of emotion that was happening before. When you see
Stacy
this,
gets a broom.
okay. So that's Stacy's reaction, is like, okay, great, this is done. Yeah, so you kind of start cleaning up. um Witch and Lee, what are your reactions to kind of when everything starts to settle a little bit?
I'm a little. Okay, you want to go
Go ahead.
first? Okay, I'm a little surprised, like, um, of Stacy kind of like controlling the room that well, and maybe a little envious of that.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, man, where the hell was I? Like I'm supposed to be a leader, and I'm kind of not doing that.
That's great. I think with that, I'm gonna ask you to take a condition. Because I think that this wasn't intentional, but you've definitely like you've been a little bit wounded by this. I'll let you choose. It sounds like maybe insecure or
Insecure.
guilty. Yeah, great.
Insecure, probably, yeah.
Um, excellent. All right. And does Lee have any reaction to this? I know you're kind of been detached, but does this change Lee's demeanor in any way?
I definitely think just like the sudden noise and change in the environment probably broke through to them a little bit more, kind of brought them back to the present. And I think some part of them was just kind of the calm and the storm and the chaos. Like it felt not necessarily comforting, but was more manageable now than the sudden like silence and peace and everyone getting along and like that not necessarily like the anxiety they had been keeping at bay kind of bubbles up and they put down their cup and just kind of walk out onto that balcony.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine, I mean, I think Witch and Stacy, I think you both probably noticed this from Lee that they have now just kind of walked out and are standing by themselves outside.
I just kind of glance over to Stacy and I go, should we?
Um, yeah. Um, Stacy quickly like finishes sweeping up. It's there's probably still like shards of glass here. She's probably gonna like want to stay after the meeting and like mop just to make sure all the glass is up, but like it's fine. Like it's fine for now. She like finishes sweeping and um will join yeah, we'll join Alice. Yes, Al there are so many Alices here.
There's so many
We'll
ale
join
names.
we'll join Alice and check on Lee.
Great. So yeah, so Lee, you are, it's a small balcony. It's pretty obvious when these two walk out to sort of check on you.
And they're just there, like, not kind of like leaning up against the edge, looking out and down over the city, not like in a something is going to happen sort of manner, but in a just trying to get back to that not zen, but kind of emptiness that they had like just a few minutes ago.
You two who have just walked out, do you say anything, or do you kind of just sort of wait to see if Lee reacts or does anything?
I th- I think I don't say anything to them. I which just kind of stands, like kind of leans on the balcony next to them, just kind of quietly.
I will follow Witch's lead and just like sit awkwardly on the sort of railing. and just I think I think she's just gonna like be around. Like she usually doesn't say the right thing. She usually doesn't get her teammates. Like, so she wants to not mess up and is just like, I can be present and not speak, and hopefully this will help.
Great. Lee, will you say anything at any point, or will you kind of just enjoy like or I don't know if you're enjoying it, but just kind of like let them kind of sort of sit there in companionable silence with you?
I think Lee is going to probably sit there for a few moments. Oh God, this is such a mess, guys.
Which part?
Everything is fucking crashing together. I didn't want this at all. And you know how there's people you're supposed to fucking hate and you hate them for the most part and you never want to see them again. And now they're going to be in the same city as you with a killer on the loose that might be going after them at some point. And now you are forcibly faced with the fact that you hate them, they might die, and yeah.
Well, I mean, I can at least half relate. Are are I mean, are you? How can we be sure anyone like who's going after who?
I mean, if we have some asshole rhombus dude going after heroes now. And god damn if my family is not a spectacle.
You've never really talked about your family before. Um, but it seems like you say they're bothering you, they're coming into town. Do you want to
Not
talk about it?
not for me, of course. I am for all purposes dead to them. I'm supposed to be dead in general, and 90% of the reason why I don't talk about my family in public to anyone is that I am under so many NDAs that I will be sued within like 6 feet underground of my life. They're a big fucking deal. And they're coming to make another publicity tour.
If you hate them so much, why even worry about it?
I think that might be the grand mystery. I hate them and I can't say they ever did anything good for me, and God, I am not their child officially. That doesn't necessarily mean I want to see their bodies splayed out on the news.
Hate and love aren't opposites. I'm sorry that this is getting complicated. It's okay to have mixed up feelings about them. I think everybody here has some sort of mixed up feelings about people that have done us wrong.
After you say that, Stacy, you hear like a knock on the glass door that leads out to the balcony. And you can see that the new girl, the kind of redheaded girl who was crying earlier, she seems to have pulled herself together a little bit now. But she's sort of just like she's kind of like averting eyes with all of you, having seen that this is somewhat of an intense conversation, but is like sort of has her hands folded and is like waiting patiently outside this glass door.
Stacy will go over and like open the door. Hi. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last meeting. I'm Stacy Jane. It's good to meet you. Good to have you in the meetings. Uh, is something up?
Hi. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be interrupting a conversation. And also nice to meet you. I'm Cadence. Um, and I was just wondering if I could maybe talk to you three about something.
Um, like I think Stacy's gonna look to Lee and be like, we can hold this off for a few seconds, for a few minutes, or like however long if you need some more time to like be out here with just us. But like just communicate with eyes like what's the play here?
You just kind of like see their shoulders deflate, and they're just like, there's not much more that needs to be said here, especially if people are going to be waiting at the doors.
Cool. Yes, please step into our balcony. It's not our balcony. We just loiter here sometimes. What's up?
Um, so uh she kind of like nervously steps outside, and she kind of like she's like right in front of the door, like she's not moving further into the balcony to make herself comfortable at all. And she says, young me told me that I'm that no one's really that it's kind of I know that you're all the refrigerators. Young me told me it's sort of an open secret.
You muted, Anita.
E- Emphasis on the secret for
I'm
some of us. We are not all the refrigerators.
oh
The defrigerators. I am a defrigerator because I do not wear a mask. But that is the only confirmed member of the defrigerators. So if you have a defrigerator problem, you can talk to me, but also it don't matter if they're also in on the conversation as well. What's up?
sure. I could just maybe the two of you could just listen. So I don't know if you all ever knew of a hero team, the Sirens. Um and the Sirens, I think, would be like if you as a person are like really into like deep hero lore, or just like you like they're like the indie bands of the hero world, like they're alt, but yeah, it was like it's a team of two heroes. They have like uh basically like voice based, like hypnotic but also like resonant musical powers, and but they haven't been around for a while now, but so you decide for yourself if that's the kind of thing you think your character might know.
I'm not really familiar with the sirens, but what's going on with them?
I used to be one of them. Um, it was me and my sister, Harmony, and well, I don't. I know we've just met, and I know that people's stories are personal, but the long and short of it is and she kind of like gestures at her voice, which is sort of raspy, like you can hear sort of a rasp in it even just as she's talking. She says, I can't do what I used to do anymore. um I lost my powers permanently, I think. But my sister didn't. We were up against a supervillain, and well, I thought we both lost our powers, but Harmony got them back, and we were always the most powerful together, but now, she's off doing like low-level sidekick jobs, but it's besides the point. I haven't heard from her. I haven't heard from her. Like, we're not close anymore, but I send her a text, she'll text me back. Maybe she just reacts to it or whatever, but she will. And she hasn't been doing it. She's a hero. I'm really worried that Middleman isn't the only one.
You want us to check in on your sister?
I mean, it seems, look, so far as I can tell, I've been trying to research some stuff about you all, and you're the only ones who like notice the patterns about the villains right away, right? You're the only ones who notice a lot of things about this right away. And I don't want you to find my sister, but I because even if you find her, I don't know, whatever, but I think that if something's happening to the heroes, I think there's a reason that it's those heroes. And I don't know, I can sort of just feel it. So I'm wondering if you can, even if you can't find my sister, if you can at least tell me why her.
I got nothing else better to do.
Thank you.
We don't really know the motive of whoever this person is doing what they're doing, but we were already looking for them and searching for them. So, yeah, yes.
Thank you. And she hands you something. It's a small, like, fits in the palm of your hand, music box. Um, and she says, I want to give this to you. It gets louder the closer to my sister it is. And that's at least if she's still, if she still carries the box around. There's only two. I don't know if she does, but if she does, you might be able to use this. I don't have powers anymore. It kills me that I can't do this myself.
Um, yeah, like, yeah, she's going to, take, just, take the box and say, thank you. Um, we'll do our best.
She just nods her head. She turns around. She like opens the door the wrong way the first time, but then like gets it open and leaves the balcony. Um, leaving the three of you out here.
Well, I guess we've got ourselves another mystery.
Um, after Witch says this, Lee, your phone buzzes. You get a text. You actually get several texts in a row. Um, the first one says, "Hey, sorry, this is kind of last minute. I don't know if you're at all close to the Carmen Square area right now, but I'm nearby and I'm starving. Was maybe gonna go grab a bite at the food truck circle if you're interested. Oh shit, this is high noon, BTW. Embry to friends." That was like a total of 12 texts.
Um, they definitely look at it and just kind of like cover their face so no one can see like the awkward little like smile that crosses it. They look at Witch and Stacy. You know what? I don't know if I have the bandwidth for this tonight. Um, yeah, I think you guys can handle this part of things. Let me know. Just let me know when you need me. I have
Okay.
something. Yeah.
Take the time you need, I guess. Yeah, you still have a phone, so we can text you.
And Stacy has you. So yes.
Um, yeah, and if you want us to look after your family while they're in town, make sure nothing happens to them or warn them or whatever, you let us know about that too, and we can do something
Don't
or
don't
not do
don't
anything.
don't. I don't. I know they're there and that is bad enough. Knowing that if anyone said anything, they wouldn't listen. They are at the top of the world as far as they're concerned. And fuck if they need any more eyes on them, and that would make a difference. Stay out of the financial district. You have never heard of me in your life, if anyone asks. God, if anyone
Noted.
says anything, ignore it. I've already heard I have a lot of things from my past are about to be used as props, so
We'll we'll still steer clear if we can.
yeah, and Leah just kind of makes their exit, like gives Lenore just like acknowledgement that they are out, not stopping to talk to anyone.
Uh Great. All right. So we'll shift scenes there. And we're gonna jump I assume Lee is heading to Carbon Square, the Carbon Square food truck circle. And as you do, Lee, like when you kind of arrive to the area, I think there's a big panel of, there's just like there's all of these kind of like cutesily named food trucks, like it's a very, there's definitely like some like people who are getting lunch in the middle of their workday kind of thing. There are some families, there are definitely like couples on dates and things like that, groups of friends, it's a big, it's like a wide sort of like a cul-de-sac that all the trucks are parked around, and there's sort of like a park area behind it with some tables and things like that people are eating at. You kind of like are scanning the area when you see a figure that undoubtedly looks familiar, although not in a form that you have ever seen them before. This looks like High Noon, or as they just told you, Embry, who kind of has a big sort of curly mop of white blonde hair, as you've seen before. Very kind of like piercing gray eyes, but that are currently covered by like a big, like dorky square pair of glasses. It's like they are attractive enough though that it's like, oh, okay, you've got the dorky glasses, but they work on you kind of thing, right? And they're wearing just like a very it's so contrary to like their sleek sort of kind of golden armored uniform, because they're wearing literally just like a baggy t-shirt that has like whatever this universe's equivalent of the Muppets is on it. And it's kind of like it's got like paint stains on it. They're wearing like really baggy pants as well. And like at the bottom of it all, just like kind of like open-toed sandals. And they're just sort of like stop and like scanning around. And they definitely do like a double take when they see you, but they don't, they don't stop on you. Like they're just sort of like scanning around because you are currently Lee, right? You're not in your carrion getup.
Yeah, no. Lee, I think, still wears a lot of like blacks and like darker colors. So they're probably in like not fitted or like skinny jeans, but kind of like just like black bootcut jeans. Probably like is this what time of the year is it?
I would say it's like, headed to, it's like autumn. I think it's autumn, and it's a warm day today.
So they've probably abstained from their like the big hoodie that they kind of use to um disguise themselves, and probably had to forego that for just like a baggier t-shirt, probably still in black, or um yeah, like black, dark blue, gray. um it's probably got like a uh, I think that they're called like death head moths, like hawk
Oh
moths
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just like something that's they've definitely like picked up from some underground like market stall somewhere.
Amazing.
They've got their glasses and everything on, and their hair pulled up.
Great, yeah. So what will you do? Because Embry hasn't like kind of isn't like staring at you, is still just sort of kind of like circling. Actually seems a little nervous just in terms of body language. What's Lee's move?
I mean, they're nervous as well. Like they're like tapping their foot, like um bouncing on their heels a little bit. At the same time, they're taking a moment to just kind of like watch what happens, because they're still nervous about this, and unsure if what they've seen from High Noon, that this isn't just like a potential publicity stunt or a way to kind of corner them. And also, I think this might actually be like the first time like they've gone on anything close to a date ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, as you're kind of like standing and watching, you see Embry pull out their phone, which is a flip phone. It's not even a flip phone, it's one of those like side phones that like it goes up one way and then it goes up the other way too. So they pull that out and they text and you get a message that kind of pops up on your phone that's like I'm right in front of the PETA truck, BTW, smiley face. And then Embry slides that phone away, puts it in their pocket, and just kind of like keeps standing sort of nervously.
God, not to like, so they don't want to look like they've gone like full stalker mode and just suddenly approach them. So instead, they're just gonna like make like such a like slick move, of course, totally not awkward at all, as they like start to like slowly move in a circle around these food trucks and like come through like between like two of them and kind of approach from the side.
Yeah. As you approach, Embry will sort of like turn towards you and be like, hey, I thought that might be you.
I guess I was right that it was you as well.
Uh I'm in real life, I'm Embry. I know I said, but yeah, Embry. I imagine you're not Carrion. If you are, no judgment, but you know.
If my name was actually Carrie, and I would expect the full judgment. I'm going to be very honest. It's 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 Lee. And they start to like reach out for like a handshake and then realize that might be too awkward and then pull their hand back and then just like awkwardly shove it in their pocket.
Yeah. Embry definitely has very much like a similar move of like not knowing if you're gonna reach out for one and just sort of like tucks both hands in like the very baggy pockets of their very baggy pants and says, Lee, that suits you. It's very, it's like no nonsense, you know?
Thanks. I picked it myself.
Same. Well, hey, can I buy you? I haven't thanked you properly for getting me out of that mirror labyrinth situation. I would love to buy you your choice of portable lunch. We have many options here. I'm sorry. I thought well, I thought this was going to be a lot cooler of me, but I really would be happy to buy you lunch.
Yeah, no, that was a fucking mess, man. And yeah, you can buy me lunch and I will buy you coffee, tea, a smoothie question mark.
Boba?
That
And
works.
so they'll sort of like start kind of I think that they will insist on buying you your food first and will like offer you up there's a million trucks here, so it's kind of your choice. What sort of thing do you feel like Lee like leans towards for something like this?
I don't even think they have a clue.
Yeah.
They're just I don't necessarily think they have had to be out in the afternoon enough that they would
Yeah.
frequent food trucks on this side of town.
Yeah.
Um, also like what is like an appropriate date question mark food that is like suddenly running through their mind because like corn dogs would be awkward. Um, God, no one needs soup.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that like if you end up in the state of choice paralysis,
mhm.
Embry will sort of like lead you towards a pizza truck that's selling like these massive, like, you know, like bigger than your face, like slices of pizza, and will be like, this I can highly recommend this if you they've got this like artichoke and spinach pizza. I know, but it's really good.
I think you've made some questionable decisions so far, but I have taken enough risks today. Let's take another.
Yeah, so they will buy 2 slices of the artichoke and spinach pizza, and then I think you kind of probably start munching on them a little bit as you're in line for your boba. And we'll just sort of, and it's good. Like it actually is, you know, even if it's not normally your thing, clearly, you know,
Mhm.
whatever this place is has sort of the veggie pizza thing down. Um And while you're sort of like in line and talking, and eventually, you know, after you get your boba, you'll migrate to like a picnic table, basically, where you're sitting on one end of it. I think there's just like a couple panels where we don't even see the speech bubbles, but it's just kind of like you can tell that like Embry's in a really active state of like talking, is like gesturing, is like pointing at things. What does Lee look like in those panels? Is Lee kind of disengaged? Is Lee, you know, warming up a little bit? What do you think that looks like?
I think there's just kind of like over the panels, there's this like slow progression of like their shoulders, like just kind of like leaning back. They're not like quite as curled in on themselves. Um, they've probably been actively listening since the beginning, but you probably see like they're like them starting to talk with their hands a little bit more, and respond, and just kind of like they're leaning in and just kind of finding like just like a little more comfort in the situation and relaxing and like becoming an active participant in the conversation instead of letting Embry um kind of hold everything.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So I think in the next panel, it's a little bit closer on the two of you. Somewhere in between the panels, Embry has gone out to buy like a giant like ice cream sundae with that has 2 spoons in it. And Embry is kind of like it's like massive. Like this thing is, you know, this could feed like 5 people, and Embry is kind of like eating at one end of it. Um, and is finishing his story just saying, and I mean, I do get that the mayor's office is worried about stuff right now, but it's like is I don't understand how a photo shoot with me and the rest of Solstice is going to solve anything. Like they're really big on how the optics of the situation look, and I don't think that's important.
I mean, it obviously it shouldn't be. Um, God knows that we don't need any more flashiness about this freaking city or anywhere. And I I mean, there's a reason I don't broadcast, you know, anything. At least of all, I mean, if any of my friends, we'll go with friends, tried to do a photo shoot, I would A, worry about alien replacement, B, would probably leave them sitting there because yes, sure, optics, bullshit, but everyone loves a superhero and everyone loves a good story and it sells the city and
You you guys are too honest to do something like that. Like I always think that you four, you're just so real about everything, and you're kind of real with each other too. It's, I don't know. Okay. I don't has okay, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Has Witch ever told you that they like kind of tried to join Solstice once upon a time?
Embry, I don't even know what Witch's first name is.
Really?
She keeps herself pretty private.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, can I tell you why? Like, her powers are like insane. She has a ton of power, just like literally like spilling out of her, it seems like to me sometimes. But I mean, the thing with Solstice is we have to be really controlled, like really controlled. I honestly, I worry about that with Midnight sometimes, that, but sometimes I wish I could just not be.
Yeah, I know that story really well, and I can say that it's a lot better when you just not be. Um, I know you probably can't just do that either.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of be sort of like an angry person sometimes, which I realize as I speak to you in my Muppets t-shirt over a, literal human baby sized thing of ice cream. I might not be projecting that particular vision to you right now. But, and I don't mean that I like slam doors and break things and shit. I just mean that, like, if I think people are being unfair, or like if I think someone's hurting someone else, it makes me furious, and I it's hard for me not to intervene. And like I think that having the rest of Solstice is good for me, partially because my power is more strategic than it is like actually powerful. Um, and surrounding myself with a team means I can't just like throw myself at a problem because I get angry or because I'm ready to like put my life on the line to fight a villain. I have to think about everybody's safety, which is why like I do think it's good for me to be on a team and have to think like a team. But I mean, it means that I'm doing shit like coordinating with the mayor's office when I could be out solving problems, you know?
Not realistically, but have you considered just telling the mayor to fuck off?
Have I considered it? Yes. Have I actually done it? No. But I don't know. Maybe I should. I've been doing a lot of things recently that I've never done before. I've never asked someone on a date.
So is that what we're gonna call this then?
I was thinking that it was, if you weren't into the idea that it's a date, it's just sort of a chill hangout between friends, right? But if you were thinking that maybe you were kind of happy with the idea that this is a date, then I sort of think it's a date.
I will take it as a date, but only if I can go and beat your ass at Dance Dance Revolution.
Uh you can try. And we're gonna cut that scene there. and we're gonna check back in with Stacy and Witch, who so I think that basically we kind of pick back up with Witch and Stacy, you're without Reyna, you're without Lee. I don't know how often it is that just the two of you are like hanging out, if it happens ever. But I think that basically Thaw kind of disperses after time. Some people kind of like go to get lunch with each other. Some people are still sort of talking in the lobby of the building, but the official membership meeting is over. And I think you two are together. You're sort of automatically walking towards sort of the main artery street of this area of Halcyon City, where where your meeting place is. Towards the area where maybe you'd usually grab a bus or something, but it's just you two. What is it that you're talking about? What is it that the plan is? What's going on?
Well, I guess we should start by seeing the last missions that her sister did, and maybe we can go to wherever those took place, and maybe the music box will make some noise.
Totally. Yeah. Like, I guess we need to track Harmony, and we need to track the hero on the sirens. But the hero's probably a good place to start, since like specifically heroes and villains are being targeted. Let me and I think Stacy is going to take out this pink camera. It is her favorite thing. She has been taking pictures of everything, trying to figure out how it works. She's been thinking of like this, if we can like tinker this to like go inside of a human body and figure out like what exactly is wrong, like people could get diagnosed with viruses, like all sorts of illnesses and diseases a lot quicker. She's been obsessed with this gift that she has been sent. And she just sort of like snaps a picture of the box and sees what this thing can tell her about it.
Yeah. So I love the idea that Stacy's been kind of tinkering it and maybe seeing if you can like expand the function of it even. I want to say that I'd love to have you like unleash your powers, and I want to see like it's kind of like a like you're not unleashing your powers right now, but you have been while you've been working on it. More of Stacy's like sort of genius level intellect powers. So go ahead and roll freak for me, and let's see what this means for your pink Polaroid camera that you've been gifted.
All right, this is a +1. I rolled a 5 and a 1 for a 6. +1 makes 7.
Great. So you could
Beautiful.
choose whether you mark a condition or whether I will tell you how the effect is unstable/temporary.
I'd love to see how this effect is unstable/temporary, since
Great.
yeah, Stacy hasn't done high level science in a little minute.
Yeah.
And probably is just a little rusty, and also this is new shit. Yeah, talk to me.
Can you tell me what would Stacy's like main goals have been in terms of like extending the functionality of this camera? Like what would Stacy have been trying for first?
I think mostly she's been trying to figure out how it works and seeing if she can like replicate it with another camera. I don't think she's trying to like tinker with this one so
Yeah.
much. Like just because like in the immediate this is going to help us find the Halcyon.
Yeah.
And that is more pressing and important than the long-term goals. But she's just been tinkering with it, trying to like understand how it works.
Yeah. Great. So I think what's happened is I think Stacy picked up like a busted old Polaroid camera from like a, thrift shop or something like that, somewhere in Halcyon City, grabbed it for, $15. And you've been trying to replicate it. So the camera you're gifted, the pink one, still does a what it does is, you take a picture of something, and instead of like a real picture, it prints out like the basically the makeup of the elements of what's ever in the picture, which is very useful for some of the things you're talking about. The camera that you've made, you've gotten like some of the basic functionality in, but it's still like you haven't been able to replicate the film that's being used or whatever is being used to print things in that camera. But in your new camera, if you put film in, it will sort of highlight as part of the picture wherever there are like particularly rare or interesting elements. So yours is more of like it's almost like heat seeking in terms of like, oh, that's interesting. And it's not, you actually haven't found anything that turned out to be halcyonium, but you've occasionally been able to identify like, oh, there's something interesting about this object. Maybe you even took it to the planetarium and confirmed that it would work if you took a picture of the meteorite. But yeah, so you've made like a heat-seeking camera. It's not the effect works so long as you have film. But I don't know if any of you have a Polaroid or that needs Instax film or anything like that. But that shit is expensive sometimes. So it's like you probably have the like 10-pack roll that like was already in the camera, and you've maybe used 2 of them already. So you've got like 8 instances unless you're going to go buy some more. But yeah, that's what Stacy's been able to accomplish.
Vibes. But yeah, back to the scene. It would probably be great to go see like where Harmony has been in Harmony's superhero life, where at least Halcyon City as a whole has last seen her. So I guess we go to the internet.
Oh, yeah, right. I take out my phone, like usually Lee does this, and um I look up like recent what was the team name called again?
The Sirens, yeah.
Sirens, mission spottings.
Yeah. You can see that there is a Kingfisher account that's like it's like a Sirens Stan page. Like it's got lots of like like edits to, TikTok sounds of like oh my gosh, my favorite team. Like it just very there it's a Sirens Stan account, and you can see that they've got like um they've got like something in their bio that's like Cadence, we miss you, like your power may be gone, but you're never forgotten in our hearts, kind of like stuff. This page appears like it seems like a 14-year-old or something is running it. Like that's the vibe you're getting. But they do have like a most recent post that's like, OMG, everyone just got this from a mutual. It does seem like Harmony, who is now working with Harmony, who is now working with the artisan, is at the Harmony, who is now working with the artisan, is at the Halcyon Funland Amusement Park, RN, and then a bunch of like heart eyes and sparkles and things like that. And that was maybe like a day and a half ago that was posted.
I guess we're taking a trip to the amusement park then.
The amusement park and maybe artisan. I don't think I don't think she would stay at the amusement park for 1.5 days. Seems like Artisan was the last person that saw her. Do we know where Artisan hangs out?
Do we?
I would say the Artisan is, mid-tier Halcyon hero. And can be like has a like a literal like art gallery slash workshop in the center of town. And it's kind of like it's like the front of it is an art gallery and the back of it is like a workspace where they do things. And yeah, it's like that is where they do their normal person job and their hero shit, so that's where they can typically be found.
Where do you want to go? Both seem like good leads.
We'll stop at the artisan first and see if they know anything. And if they don't, then we have the amusement park as a secondary.
Yeah, thanks. Um,
Right. Um, so you two, like, I imagine, like, hop on a bus or something. I don't think anyone's got a car. So I think you're bussing it over there. So you all kind of you hanging out on the bus. It's a pretty empty, like it's not a normal commute time, so you kind of have a quiet bus ride, which is like literally completely covered up, just like in like as she usually is. So it's just kind of like Stacy, who looks like mostly normal. I mean, except for the Stacy like power visibility or whatever, but it's like you know it's the two of you like sitting kind of next to each other on the bus for like a couple awkward panels. And then you get off in front of this art gallery. And it's like literally the front of it says the artisan's workshop in this like beautiful like curly script. There's like no one inside. It's the front like windows are glass, as is the door, so like you can see pretty clearly in when you're there. And when you arrive you could hear a voice that says, well, hello and welcome. Oh, upon seeing that you are children, like clearly based on your heights, and not, like some sort of likely customer, the face of this person just like completely drops. So this person is kind of wearing like a very, it's like a one-piece sort of jumpsuit, very like chic and artistic looking. It's all black, wearing very like high boots that sort of like the boots basically look like they kind of just like meld seamlessly into the jumpsuit. They have like very sort of, their head is entirely shaved but has tattoos all over it, like very colorful tattoos. And they sort of just like look at you and say, can I help you?
yeah. Uh, we're the refrigerators. Well, part of the
Who?
refrigerators. We're
What
here
is
on
that?
we're here on hero business. Is the artisan home?
Oh, that's me, dear.
Oh,
Although
nice.
when I'm in this getup, you can call me Artemisia. And they sort of like extend out a hand. It's very like floppy, you're
Oh,
kind of like not sure if you're supposed to shake it or kiss it, sort of deal.
uh, hi. I take it and sort of do a kiss on it, and say, I am Stacy Jane, or I guess I'm working, so Cold Cock is my hero name. And this is Wedge. We are a part of the refrigerators, and we are looking for uh Harmony. Uh,
Um, Yeah, so the artisan, I'm not going to do it to you because that's rude, but the artisan is like talking over you the whole time. Like it will just be like, like when you mention witch will be like, oh, Artemisia Patel, I'm charmed, just like this whole time. But then when you get to the word harmony, we'll just sort of stop and be like, Harmony, do you know if she's all right?
Um, we talked to Harmony's sister, and her sister is worried because she hasn't heard from her.
I didn't even know Harmony had a sister.
Um, what can you tell us about the amusement park a day and a half ago when you last, at least that's when the social media page said you last saw her?
Oh, darling, you must get out off of social media. You live in the moment is what I say. It's good for you. It's good for the soul.
I
Anyway,
destroyed my phone.
good. As you should. And she'll sort of or they will sort of like walk you back and you can see like up on a wall there's like a destroyed phone that's like encased in resin and is like this is actually my latest, but anyway, the amusement park. So I went.
Allie paused for me. Did
Yeah.
Allie pause? Okay.
Yeah, I was about
Was
to ask.
um
You froze for
You
a second.
froze.
I froze for just a second. Let me make sure everything's good. And yes, I hope that was just a little hiccup. But I'll just repeat where I the artisan will say, I'm not sure if you're low level thing at the amusement park. I'm not sure if you're familiar with a villain, the bamboozler. Um yes, I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't just in the neighborhood, but the bamboozler was sort of taking over some there's this I'm not sure if you've been to Halcyon Funland, but there is a ride that is rather magicians themed, and the bamboozler was tempting to go in, hijack the ride, and spin it out into space or something like that. But I have, I rotate between sidekicks. I think it's good. It's healthy, right? Right now I've been working with Harmony, who is great. Siren is what is what she prefers to be known by, but I've been saying, oh, that has.
Oh, it's happened again. Allie,
Yeah.
it's happened again.
It's happened again. Technology. I keep jumping in and out, but let me try to uh do this and hopefully this helps. I just switched over to one connection as opposed to using two. Um so but Artemisia will say, oh, uh Harmony, I've been trying to talk to her about her branding. Maybe don't use Siren. We used to be a part of a team known as the Sirens. Whatever, not important. But we were there and, had made quick work of the bamboozler, really like wrapped it up pretty fast. And I asked Harmony, can you handle the rest of this yourselves? All that it should have been was simply waiting for the authorities to show up. The bamboozler was entirely wrapped up in hardened clay. That's what I do. And they sort of take a big kind of ball of clay out of their like a satchel that they've got on the back of their jumpsuit, and they sort of just throw it, and it hardens in the air like as they throw it into like a kind of a rope shape, and then they clearly pause and wait for applause as after they've done that.
I do a slow clap.
Thank you. But anyway, bamboozler all wrapped up in clay, hardened clay, very difficult to get out of. So Harmony just said that she would wait for the authorities to arrive. And I thought, good, I have a, bottle of Merlot at home with my name on it. Very old Merlot, really fabulous vintage, but besides the point. And so I thought I would go and just leave Harmony to it. And I assumed that I would hear something from Harmony in the following days, but I never did. Some of my connections told me that that she was actually at the hospital, and I figured I would go see her, bring her a cheese tray, as you do. It's only kind. But she's under strict quarantine apparently, so I'm not allowed to go.
Well, what hospital would she be at?
She's at Banks Memorial.
Yep. And Stacy will be like, thank you so much for helping us. The family really appreciates it. Is there anything else that we will need? Turns to Wedge.
Did they tell you what happened to her? Why she was there?
She's had some sort of injury, and as I've heard it, I don't believe her powers are working at all anymore.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's all we need to know.
She says, I ate the cheese tray, but if you do manage to get in to see her, would you and she sort of like takes more clay out of her back pocket and just like spins it up into this like very elaborate auto hardening ceramic thing, and says, and maybe if you find some flowers to put in, and just hands it out to you.
Okay.
Be careful with it. The very fact that I've touched it means that it's worth at least $10,000.
All right. Bye now.
Goodbye. And they will sort of escort you out. Okay, yeah. So I think that let's take our break there. We've got Lee on a date, we've officially decided, and Witch and Stacy doing some investigating, perhaps going to Banks Memorial. So yeah, let's pick up with that right after the break. We'll be back in 15 minutes. If you've got to drink some water, take some meds, whatever you got to do it. Maybe throw a subscription to the Twitch and to the YouTube channel if you've got time, and which you do. You've got 15 whole minutes. You can do it. And we will be right back. Bye, buddy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back from break. Hope you had a chance to drink liquids, do whatever you needed to do. So let's jump almost right back into it. First, I just wanted to say, if you're just joining us, please note we've got a trigger warning in place for this episode for dead naming and misgendering. If you need a warning for it, you've got a warning for it. Just be aware that that's some of the content in this episode. So let's pick back up with Stacy and Witch, who are now, after a hasty Google for an address, you are on your way to the Banks Memorial Hospital in Halcyon City. This is, there's lots of people get injured in Halcyon City, so there's a few hospitals, but this one is, relatively speaking, it's not that far from where you were, the Artisans Workshop. So you are walking. That's the closest way there. It's starting to drizzle just a little bit, not enough to deter you from walking around outside, like a very light sort of mist. It honestly feels nice because the day was on the warmer side a little bit. But you are carrying, unless you've decided to ditch it, I don't know, but you've got this like ceramic vase created by the artisan themselves in tow, and you've got 5 blocks or so before you arrive at this. It's a pretty big hospital. It's got got all sorts of things, big research hospital. It's attached to it's one of the better facilities in the city limits. What is your, first of all, what are you all talking about? What's the plan of attack? And what's the mood as we see these panels of you walking towards Banks Memorial?
I think it's a little awkward for a little bit, and it's a little quiet. And which keeps like looking over, like trying to get something out. And then she goes, do you really think her power's never coming back?
Whose powers?
The redhead at Thaw.
I don't know. This city is really weird. I'm sure there'll be like some sort of reality warping space shrimp that rewinds everything in 5 years, and everybody gets their powers back, and some people get unborn, and you live in a weird world.
Yeah. I mean, she said her sister got him back, right? So maybe it's not permanent.
Um, maybe. Is something is something on your mind, Witch?
I just think maybe I just hope there's hope, you know? And as like she says that, like her her um her right eye starts like leaking a little bit, and like a little embers coming out and stuff, and she's like, shit.
Um, that mm, I I guess I never did. You know, thank you for the whole fire explosion thing back at Haltech. Um, I
I
guess I could
mean,
have been really hurt, and you stepped in to protect me, so thank you.
I mean, I don't know why you would thank me. I hurt you. I Look, that part of me, I can't control it, and I didn't know what else to do. And I don't think I protected you as much as you maybe think I did or I wanted to. I I'm sorry. That's I'm sorry for that. I don't think you should be thanking me.
I think Stacy's gonna take the vase from your hands, set it on the sidewalk beside them, uh, and go in to hug you.
Um taken aback, but like hugs back. Like thank you. Um
You did what heroes do. You jumped in and you saved somebody that was in trouble. And I'm glad you did.
hey, I mean, I was following your lead.
Um, I would like Stacy for you to roll to comfort or support someone. So roll plus mundane. And I want to add, like, if this is a fail, you don't have to not hear it. We're kind of going for the mechanical potential benefits here and such. But
Rolled a 4 and a 2 and +1 for a 7, baby.
yeah, all right.
Yeah, and uh because I have the bull move friend, uh when I comfort or support my love or my rival, you're my rival. I get to mark potential on a hit.
Amazing. Um, Great. And that means that you which get to either mark potential, clear a condition, or shift labels if you open up to Stacy.
I'll I'll clear this hopeless condition I got.
Love that.
Been
Feeling
there
some
for a
hope.
while.
Great. So we've got this sort of panel of you two like hugging as the light mist of rain comes down. Are there any other panels, any other conversation that happens before you make your way to the hospital?
Um, I think when Stacy sort of pulls away from the hug, there's sort of like a exhale of relief, as she sort of says, "Thank goodness. I thought you all didn't want me on the team anymore." Um, um, I'm I'm glad. I'm where I'm glad that you think I'm still useful. I've been like feeling very weird with the team, just like whenever we talk about Solstice. Y'all really don't like Solstice, but like I'm always trying to make friends with him. And then on top of that, just like the move of like rushing in and like letting letting this professor woman get away. I thought people didn't really like me.
Stacy, useful. Stacy, you're crucial. I hope you know that. I don't want you to think that like your place in our team isn't set in stone because you are needed.
Um, there is there is a panel of like Stacy's eyes cartoonishly welling up with tears. Um, and yeah, there's probably another hug that is just a little too tight with the super strength. Uh, and she's yeah, I think she says, "Do you wanna come over to my dad's house for dinner or something?"
Uh, sure. I guess. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's good to have a friend. Um, so Stacy has this team move uh that sort of goes when you share a vulnerability with someone, uh vulnerability or weakness with someone, give them influence and hold two, and spend that hold to help them as if it were team in the pool. And I would like to
Amazing.
trigger that team move.
Yes.
Uh,
Love it.
so I'm pretty sure you already got influence over Stacy, so you can shift my labels a little if you want. And I'll hold two and help you, like team, if you need it.
Um, I can shift your labels.
Yeah, you can.
Hmm. Interesting. What if we put what's your freak at?
My freak is at +1.
What if we move that down and superior up?
Cool beans. Okay.
And one
Yep.
last
Amazing.
thing. One
Yeah.
last thing as we're like approaching the hospital. Oh, after this, there is something kind of important I do have to tell you, but once we're finished this.
Okay. Yeah. Sure thing. Uh, and we'll sort of walk into the hospital.
Great. So I think we'll cut to the next panel, which is it's you and a bunch of like a lot of like reporters and as well as some other heroes, all like kind of crammed into sort of a hospital waiting room area. There is one nurse who's sort of like an older gentleman. He's got like very deep brown skin. He's graying hair, holding like a clipboard, and he's just kind of like gesturing out over the whole crowd, and he's saying, I'm sorry, it's we are under strict quarantine orders here, all right? I can't help any of you, all right? I can't help any of you. And then there's just, more bubbles on this panel of people just being like, like just popping all over the place. What do you two do?
As I see it, we have two options. We can either cut our losses and go home because they're not letting us in there, or we can break some rules and sneak in. I mean, we don't know the room, but can't be that hard to find out.
I I want to take a picture of her with the fancy pink camera just to see if there's any halcyonite involved in this. Halcyonium. Halcyonite? Halcyonium. Uh,
Halcyonium. You can use either.
um, and also we should probably like tell them that we should at the very least tell the nurses that the that their family is worried and looking for them. And that maybe they could send a message out on her behalf just for the sister's peace of mind. I'm sure that like if we could get Concordia out here, they would make an exception for family.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do that.
I'm very bad at stealthing. I break things a lot, and I am very worried about destroying another bank's institution. Um, do you think you can sneak past?
Oh, definitely I could. I do this a lot.
I will do distraction, and you can bring the $10,000 vase with no flowers. We didn't see any flowers on the way, and I don't have money, so we couldn't buy any. So I couldn't buy any, at least in the gift shop downstairs. But I will go up to the nurse and be like, "Hey, I'm a hero. This person's sister was looking for them, and seems like the family has not been notified. Can y'all like do that? I can like hand you the information." Stacey's gonna do that and hopefully cause enough of the distraction for
Yeah. I think the nurse is pretty well distracted already. And when Stacy, like as an additional voice, kind of like pushes their way to the front of the group and is sort of like, hey, I'm, getting in their face, there's definitely room for Witch you to kind of stealth your way in. What does that look like, Witch? Like how are you slipping past?
Um, I'm shadowing like the wall.
Yeah.
So it's like inconspicuously dark at the wall and just kind of calmly walking down the shadow and just like checking rooms. Did you give her the camera, by the way?
I definitely would have handed you the
Okay.
camera.
Yeah.
Great. All right, we're gonna pause that scene there as Witch is just kind of like slinking in the shadows. Like there's one panel, one door opens, it's empty, goes to the next, it's empty. And then we're gonna move back to a new location. We've seen the outside of this location once before in our series, but now we are inside of Bits and Bytes. So Bits and Bytes is a pretty like run down old arcade. It is very like, it is not there's no one else inside. The machines are not like kept up super well. There's like, the carpet is just like the ugliest, oldest possible like 80s carpet. It's covered in like soda stains. It's never been replaced. But we come back in with Embry and Lee in an intense DDR battle. Like they are, Embry is very much like you can see that Muppet shirt is now like covered in sweat. Is just sort of like has pushed their sort of mop of hair back with like a bandana that they had in kind of their pocket, just like keeping it out of their face. And you can see that they're sort of just like finishing up, and they're like, do one last sort of power move, moves to the next screen. Lee is absolutely killing Embry I forget how the DDR rankings go, but Lee is like radical and Embry is like boring or whatever the hell it is. And so Embry just like gasps and says, okay, how the hell did you get so good at this?
I mean, obviously, for all of your extracurriculars, you need to work up some stamina. Um,
Whoa, okay. Hey, I I am fine on that front. Let me whatever. You're dodging the question. How did you get so good at DDR?
I spend a lot of time here. Like, an insane amount of I have graduated early from online school and spend a lot of time here.
Embry sort of like looks around. There's a couple of panels of like, cigarette smoke stained like windowsills and like, a machine that says an out of order sign, and the out of order was clearly like written up on a typewriter or something. And it's just like, I can see why. I mean, the natural charm in here is just wow.
I mean, the natural charm is very well, but at the same time, not a lot of people, not a lot of stairs. I think the old lady turns the other eye if I get a few extra plays out of a game or something.
Um, Embry looks over at the old lady, who is sitting behind the prize counter. One thing that you kind of notice for the first time, having been distracted by other things, since walking inside, um, she typically has a book or something. Like she's typically kind of like leafing through the pages of, whatever her latest like, dollar store romance novel kind of thing is. But she doesn't have anything to like occupy her right now. She's kind of just like slumped over the counter, just sort of staring and like tapping her fingers on the metal, or on like the glass top of the prize counter.
Which is definitely weird to Lee. So they kind of like lean, like trying to in frame a little bit to the old lady's like sightline. Are you like needing to close up early or something? You look like you're waiting for us to get out.
Oh, sorry, kid. No, you know, I don't mind. Sorry, just sort of a lot going on today.
And they kind of look over at Embry for like what's going on. Like I have not seen you like this, you know, in the however long the hell I've been around.
Um, Embry is like kind of like tuning in a little bit more to the conversation. Like you can see that sort of a serious look has crossed over their face, and they kind of like take a few steps closer to the counter where the old lady is leaning up against. And she sort of says, I don't mean to bother a couple teenagers with my problems, as it's just something with my kid, with my son. So
Hell, if we're teenagers, maybe we might know what's going on with him. Like worst case scenario, after all, if something happens to you, I have nowhere to go for fun, lady.
she smiles and she says, hey, if something happens to me, you just let yourself in. I know that I don't lock the third window on the left there. So but hey, no, it's okay. Look, you two aren't the kind of kids who are like, worshiping superheroes, are you? Like, you don't really seem like the type, but I don't know. Some people have them on their lunch boxes until they're, graduating college. So,
Fuck that noise. Yeah, no, I'm probably the closest opposite to that.
and Embry says, and I'd say that I have a healthy suspicion of anyone who's willing to call themselves a superhero. And sort of like glances over at you. And um the lady says, look, my son, I wouldn't call him a villain. Like he's not going out and poisoning the water supply. He's not going out and, I don't know, like trying to steal any predators from the Halcyon City Zoo and create an army. Like, he's not doing that, right? But occasionally, for a little cash, he's got a useful skill, right? He can neutralize powers. That's sort of his thing. And occasionally, for a little cash, if some villain wants to, has heard of him, like through back channels or whatever, and wants to, I don't know, really get someone in a bad spot, right? My son, being the bonehead kid he is, he'll go out, it's good money. He'll get a couple grand every time, right? And I've always tried to push him towards, I don't think he has to go out there and be, like middleman or anybody, right? But I prefer it. It seems like it would be safer if he was on the hero side, right? But here's the thing. I haven't heard from him in like a week. And I'm just assuming. And with this, she starts to like tear up a little bit. And she says, I'm just assuming I'm not going to hear from him again. Because villains have been dying all over the place. And I have no idea who would want to hurt this kid. Like, he keeps his I don't think anyone knows who he is except for me and anyone who's dealt with him in the past. But I don't know. I have a bad feeling that, maybe something happened to him and I'm not going to hear from him again.
Okay, look, we don't talk about stuff, so we're not gonna talk about stuff, but like, what name has he been going by?
I'm telling you, he doesn't have one. Like, he's the furthest thing from someone who would want a costume and to go around being called the Void or, the Undoer Man. Or that's not his thing, right? He wanted quick money. He has these powers. That's all he's ever done is just quick gigs. I don't know who would want to hurt him. He's not on anyone's team. He doesn't pick sides.
Yeah, but people can be shitty, and I can't say I can definitely find out anything, but like, what's his name? Any idea where he was last?
His name, his actual name is Keith Ashley. I don't know if I've ever told you my name. But I'm Kendra Ashley and I'm his mom.
All right.
Look, I'm sorry. And she, like, seeming very embarrassed, like is like sort of like wiping her tears off with the back of her hand, and she says, "Your kids, I don't know why I'm opening up to you. Like, you could probably tell I spend all this time in this old shop. I don't have a lot of other people I can talk about. But seriously, your kids, you shouldn't worry yourself with this."
I mean, maybe not, but hell, teenagers talk, and who knows, he might just be doing stupid kid shit. But if I see anything, Kendra, like, don't hear anything, I gotcha.
She sort of smiles. She reaches a hand out. She's got like really long acrylics that are, and you can see as you get, like, this is probably the closest physically you've ever been to her. And you can see that they're like, they've got a design on them that they're it's like the little it's like little characters from Qbert. So she's got like basically arcade themed acrylics, and she sort of like reaches out a hand. It will just sort of like tightly like squeeze your hand for a second in her own, and then pull away. And then we'll kind of like sort of go back to leaning at her spot on the counter, but we'll reach behind her and throw out like a few more coins, like a handful, and be like, those are on me. And just go back to kind of doing what she was before, sort of staring out into the distance, but she definitely seems a little less like preoccupied than she did a second ago.
Lee just kind of like tucks them in their pocket, turns back to Emery. Emery, look, I promise I will win you a stupid prize out of the crane machine. I think this might be where we need to like head out.
And Embry like opens their mouth as if they're like about to agree. And then you hear like a beep 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 boop. And they kind of raise their wrist. There was not a watch on here before, but they like just tap their wrist and it sort of materializes. And they look at it and they go, yeah, I think you might be right. Wait. 67th and Emerson. That's and like looks outside and you can see there is like a shadow passing over the street, like right outside there is like a shadow. And Embry, without waiting for you, just kind of like takes into gear and like sprints outside to see whatever the hell that is.
God, these stupid fucking self-sacrificing heroes. And they follow.
Okay. So when you get outside, you see something very strange indeed. You see that the street itself has become shadowed over, like there's a cloud passing by, and it has started raining just a little bit, but this is not a cloud. What you see when you look above you is a small zeppelin in the approximate shape of like a fat bird. And it is like, it's just kind of moving at quite a fast speed down the street. Emery looks up and just goes, what the hell is that?
What is it?
And then, with sort of surprising speed, the Zeppelin dives. It's been up high in the air above you. It dives until it's just a couple of stories above the ground. And it's sort of maneuvering its way between buildings. And then a hatch at the rear of it opens up. And a swarm of pigeons escapes from it and just immediately dives into the street and starts attacking cars, attacking people, just like but in a tight like attack formation, as if they're moving like battle planes. These pigeons are now like swooping down and dive bombing. And Ambry will turn to you and be like, "Listen, Lee, I really hate to interrupt our date, but I think it's probably time that I call my team and you call yours." And with that, Embry's gonna takes out of one of their baggy like pants pockets like a metal ball, throws it in the air. It comes down and sort of becomes their armor like as it falls, and just like suits them up as it's falling. And then we'll like turn around and like look behind themselves in like superhero stance and say, are you coming?
I mean, I can't do that trick. And God, look, I got to make sure no one touches me if I do this. And they kind of like wave a hand over themselves, and they're using like their illusion powers to kind of replace what they're wearing with their carrion outfit. Because this is stupid, dangerous to be doing in the middle of the street in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you could see Embry sort of like has basically when their kind of like costumes sort of attach them, you could see that they basically have like the Iron Man like rockets, and they say, hey, I could take you up with me if you want to follow it from above, but I don't know if you're weird about heights or anything.
Not heights. And Lee just kind of like looks them over. They also pull out their phone, which is not like a collar or any like fancy little watch thing, and shoot in the group text the address.
Yeah.
And then just like and then just angry fucking birds.
um
And just kind of lets themselves be picked up by
Great.
Embry.
Yeah. So Embry sort of wraps an arm around you, blushes very deeply, and then will sort of take off in pursuit of whatever the hell this thing is. Let's cut back to the hospital. Um, so Which you kind of go one more door, there's no one in there, and then you open a final door, and you could hear like from inside, um and there is a girl sitting in a hospital bed in there. She is alone. There's no nurses or doctors or anything. She has like a sad tray with some jello on it, and like couple napkins. She looks like she has kind of been like poking into the jello without really eating it. She bears a pretty striking resemblance to Cadence, who you met at Thaw. But she's got a little bit more. Cadence is like kind of like a pure redhead, and this girl Harmony is like more like a strawberry blonde. Her hair is a little bit like, it's like she's been lying in a hospital bed for a while. Like it's kind of disheveled. And she sort of like looks at you, looks at sort of like your entire vibe. Or are you still in shadow at this point?
I think when when she walks in, it's just shadow, and then she
Okay.
like drops it.
Yeah, I think that like upon seeing your entire vibe, like the jello thing will sort of like clatter back down to the plate, and
Aren't
Harmony
you
will
a
sort of
little
go.
short to be a stormtrooper?
um
Sorry.
but Harmony sort of just like puts her hands up and says, well, are you supposed to be here?
Kind of. I'm sorry. I'm not here to hurt you or anything. I just your sister was worried about you. Cadence.
Yeah. And with that, she sort of like puts her jello down and kind of like shoves it back. And sort of like visibly kind of slumps down at that. I Yep. I guess I never texted her back.
Um, is everything okay? What happened?
Probably exactly what Cadence has wanted to happen to me for a long time. I don't have any freaking powers anymore.
Why why would she want that?
Because she doesn't have any powers anymore?
I mean, I'm not trying to be a like family counselor or anything, but I don't think, I mean, she might be envious or jealous even, but I doubt she wants you to be hurt or to lose something of yourself. And she knows what it's like.
Yeah. Look, my sister treats me like I'm the one who did that to her. Okay? Just because I wasn't gonna just like sit around the whole rest of my life. I don't know. She and I used to be on a superhero team together, and then now she doesn't have superpowers anymore. So we can't really be a super team if one of us doesn't have superpowers.
But you're more than just a team, right? I mean,
Yeah, as she's so often reminding me.
um, look, I this might sound weird, but I need to take your picture.
Are you like a journalist? Why are you dressed like that if
No,
you're a journalist?
I'm definitely not a journalist. I'm Witch. I am also a hero.
Oh, well, watch out, because I think this is happening to a lot of us. And she sort of raises her she raises her knee up like out of the hospital bed. The blanket sort of like slips off of it, and you can see that, like, you know, kind of right below her knee there's a little diamond shaped bruise that, you know, it has been like, it's clearly been like cleaned, but and you know, there are some, like, there's like an ice pack that was like sat on top of it that she like moves out of the way, but you know, it's still visibly like a, you know, a purplish bruise that she's got on her just below her knee.
You don't mind, right? Holding up the camera.
Cheese.
I take the picture.
Yeah. So when you take the picture, now I'm gonna ask, is this with which camera is this with? Because now we've got two. Now we've got one that's sort of like the heat map that Stacy created, and then there's the original one that shows like the breakdown of what specifically is in the image.
I gave Witch the pink one, the one
Okay,
that
cool.
like actually works really well, and not the experimental. The experimental one
So
is still with me.
this prints out a list of elements. There's all the usual ones that you would expect: carbon, oxygen, all that good stuff. And then there is a small percentage, but still, there's Halcyonium right at the bottom of the list.
I'm not sure what this means. Do you know what did this to you?
No, I don't. I just remember that I was sitting around at Funland. They had pretty much closed the part of the park down because of the freaking bamboozler was trying to do some stupid shit. Sorry. I was waiting for like the authorities to arrive. I was just kind of like sitting around. Um, I got up to sort of like walk around the perimeter. Bamboozler has some henchmen. I just figured maybe someone could be coming after him. And while I was walking, I just like suddenly felt this really like sharp pain uh below my knee, and then I think I passed out, and I don't really remember anything after that.
And you didn't you didn't see anything like in you in your leg before you passed out. You just were out.
I was just out. Honestly, like, I mean, I would say that like it sort of felt like there was pain in that came into my leg, almost like, you know, like I don't know, like that you feel like when you get a really bad bug bite or something like that. And then it just started spreading from my leg to the rest of the body until the pain was so much that I passed out. And when I woke up, I was here and I didn't have powers anymore.
Do you know who found you?
She thinks for a second and she says, I think it was like the police when they came to see what was going on with Bamboozler, they found me. But they were pretty desperate to keep it out of the papers, just with everything else that's been going on. Didn't want to cause any chaos. That's why, people like you aren't supposed to be coming into my room. But then yeah, I mean, I think they just kind of brought me straight here, and the doctors have been checking me out ever since.
Can I assess the situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
That is a 3.
Ooh,
Oof.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of like you're trying to like understand what's going on, but also you're acutely aware that there's like some activity happening in the hospital behind you, and like you could be interrupted in here pretty much at any moment.
Okay. Text your sister, maybe even call, maybe. That might be too much. Um I have to go. You know how it is. Breaking the rules.
She says, I do. And hey, this is a weird question, but like my sister didn't have anything to do with this, did she? Like, that's not why you're asking?
No, she was genuinely worried.
Okay. I just like I haven't even really been a hero for that long. Like I can't think of any villain who would want to do this to me. Like again, as my sister is constantly reminding me, the worst thing that I've ever done is what I did to her.
Well, the refrigerators are trying to solve this mystery. We're looking for a pattern. So as
Who?
soon uh, as whatever, as soon as we know, you'll know. Just we're we're a little popular. Anyway, goodbye.
All right. At this moment is when Alice leaves, Stacy, you both, there's a panel of you both getting the text message with the address. And we're gonna cut back
Stacy
over.
still doesn't have a phone.
Oh,
But it's
that's
okay.
true. Stacy doesn't get that text message, but Alice does. You get the text message, angry fucking birds, and an address. Lee, I'm going to tell you exactly what is happening. So you have kind of been like following this vessel. And you hear at one point a kind of booming voice coming from it that says, people of Halcyon City, heroes are dying, villains are dying, fear runs rampant. The only creature in our noble urban landscape who remains hale and hearty is the humble Columba livia domestica. The solution then is simple. Join me, the flockmaster, and let us take on the forms of our avian brethren and live our days in the peace of doves. And this kind of just like repeats on a track, like as you're following this thing around. And you could like Embry slash now in full high noon garb is like looking over at you like, what? Do you know this guy?
No, based on context clues, it's a big fucking chicken or something.
And what is it? So I think that like high noon is occasionally like high noon's power isn't really helping them out here very much at all, because they're all about being good at one-on-one fighting. So they're kind of just trying to like take out pigeons like one at a time, like before they can really hurt people too much, but still staying in pursuit of this main vehicle. Give us a taste of like what is Lee's like fight moves look like as you're being like kind of carried in the air by Embry, but also surrounded by these, menacing pigeons.
They definitely would need to lean more a little bit on their psychic powers than
Yeah.
this, because illusions, A, they're already kind of like trying to keep an illusion up at the same time. B, that's not going to help them as much. So with pigeons specifically, I would say it looks like they are miming holding like probably like a big bat, or at least like a medium-sized bat, because they're not actively wanting to like take out these pigeons. They're just trying to like shoo them away.
Yeah.
But they just kind of like keep like batting at them, trying to like just swat them away. See if there is also any space that like this, like how big is this dirigible? Is it like actual like big blimp sized,
It's
or
not. It's like minivan sized.
okay, in that case they are just looking for like an open space, and as soon as they see it they are going to ask High Noon to just kind of like drop them down on it. And instead of like a bat, it goes like closer to like something like a spear, and they're aiming just to like take this dirigible out.
Amazing. Okay, yeah. So we have all these great panels. First of Lee kind of like swatting away pigeons, kind of disrupting their formations with this bat a little. And then High Noon sort of like a little bit shakily maneuvers themselves up above the Zeppelin, and then just kind of like drops you on it, then goes back to kind of like trying to help people. As you got this spear in hand, I'll tell you exactly what you realize. You hear the noise of a crowd below, and you realize this Zeppelin is, you're downtown now. You are in the financial district, and there is like a block ahead of you, and this Zeppelin's going pretty fast. There's a huge crowd of people surrounding a stage with a podium on it. And you are standing spear in hand atop a minivan-sized dirigible in the shape of a fat pigeon. What does Lee do when they realize this?
Everything just kind of freezes for a second, and there is probably like a small panel like shooting off in the corner, a kind of like sepia toned past kind of scene where there's the same kind of crowd, except they're standing almost right in front of it. Like you see, probably obscuring their vision a little bit is someone much taller than them, like half their body, and it's the screaming of the crowd. They realize where they're at, and then it is like jump cut back into they're on this dirigible, and they could keep letting this happen. And there is that moment where they're tempted just to ride it out, force this into like a different district, a different spot. And at the same time, there are still pigeons on the wind, dive bombing people. And they're not in this to do anything other than help people. So they shove this unseen, maybe not like quite unseen, it looks a little crystallized, maybe almost, weapon into the dirigible as they start looking up for High Noon and just scream, "Get me out of here."
Okay. Amazing. All right. So it's I love that you're doing this. Okay, I'm trying to decide. I want there to be a role here, but I'm trying to decide what it would be. I think I'm gonna say that this is a powerful emotional blow. So I would love for you to take a powerful blow here, and we'll see what happens.
Plus condition smart, since I don't have a condition, that's just a straight roll, right?
Yep, straight roll. I want low.
Well, good, because that's a 3.
Yeah. All right. So there's a lot happening right now. But you stand strong. You get to mark potential as well. And so you kind of like shove this into the dirigible. It immediately starts sort of just like comically deflating, just like shh, and it's descending now. It's not going to like hit into the crowd of people, but it's pretty clear that the trajectory is that this like deflated pigeon is about to land right next to this big crowd where there are lots of cameras that are now sort of maybe starting to pan in your direction. High Noon like hears your call and sort of like is going to swoop around, kind of like fend some pigeons out of the way, grab you sort of around the waist as they did before, and say, you said get us out of here?
Out. Yes. Away, please, please.
All
And
right.
like Lee just kind of like tucks themselves like into them. A, trying to avoid the crowd, and also B, just sudden need for creature comfort.
Yeah. So so you feel Embry's arm like tighten around you, like as you kind of like lean into them more. And they take off from the dirigible, but not you can still hear the noise coming from this crowd. You can hear a like, you know, a voice, a familiar voice that you haven't heard though in a really long time on a microphone, that just says, uh we are so honored to have been brought here from the city of New Possibilis to memorialize our darling girl, Ophelia. And although she is not with us anymore on this earth, she remains with us in spirit. What is that? And you could just hear like there's a little bit of commotion in the crowd as like lots of people pan. But you can see as maybe you can't see, but more sense just from knowing this, like as you're being carried away by High Noon, the dirigible sort of like deflates to the ground without hurting anybody. The pigeons with the whatever was in this dirigible now no longer compelling them to do whatever they're doing, just kind of like disperse into the air, no longer in formation, just normal city birds. And you kind of zip off into the now late afternoon air. So Witch and Stacy, you've gotten this message. I think that you are, being in sort of like the central area where this hospital is, you are not far from any of the action. But by the time you kind of get down there, you can already see, maybe you catch the last couple glimpses of Carrion and High Noon sort of taking down this Zeppelin together, just from the streets below. Is there anything that you two will do if you're kind of catching the last couple minutes of this encounter?
Are there still like, so this thing is just falling?
Yeah.
Are there like civilians in danger at all?
It's falling slowly enough that most people have like given a pretty wide berth to the area where it is the landing is kind of imminent.
So are people still in danger? from the angry pigeons.
I think that there are, you could do some work to sort of like get people further away just by kind of like, moving them around obstacles and things like that, but no one's in serious danger. No.
I think that Stacy is very aware of the fact that we are supposed to steer clear of the financial district. So I think she's going to turn to Witch and say, we should probably follow Carrion. We don't want to get too close to the financial district.
Yeah, this looks pretty handled.
All right. So as you two kind of start moving away, Witch, your phone starts to ring. It's an unknown number.
If this was real life, I want you to know that I would hang up right now because I don't answer my phone. But I pick it up.
You hear a voice that says, hello, dear. I would love to talk to your friend, Cold Cock, if possible. It's Emerita, by the way.
Oh, it's for you.
I will answer. Hello?
Hello. You wouldn't believe the trouble that I had trying to find a number that could reach you. Is your phone's busted?
I accidentally squeezed it. It happens sometimes. What's up? Are you okay? Are you safe?
We're safe. My wife is still ill. But I figured I should check in. So I can tell something odd is going on. I've heard about the whatever's happening with the middleman and I don't know what else. Are you all safe?
And I think something sort of like clicks a little bit in her head that like if Witch sort of like relayed the info on our way like over here, like Harmony didn't have enemies except for Harmony didn't have anyone trying to look for revenge on her except for when Cadence spoke in the meetings about how she was wronged by Harmony. And the same goes for Myopius and Middleman. And for a second, her heart freezes because gets even a little colder because Midnight, she talked a lot about Midnight in those meetings. And I think she drops the phone.
Now no one has a working phone.
And just looks to Witch and says, I've got to get to Aaliyah's house.
Okay. Is everything okay? Pick up the phone.
I think she's just gonna start running.
Okay. All right, so Stacy's running. That's great. Which you hear like a voice still from the phone that's like, hello?
Hi, she bolted.
Oh, all right. I'll just tell you, you're one of her little friends, right?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So, were you one of the ones who came to did you come to see me at my office hours?
Yes.
So, do you remember how I told you and your friends that the planetarium never would have lent out the meteorite to someone like me?
They would have lent it to someone else?
Well, I mean, the thing is that just never a villain asking for it would it be fine. I don't think they ever lent it out like lent it out. But there are people who have had opportunities to just sort of look at it, investigate it. I what's the word I'm looking for? Observe it. On their own, right? Just researchers who had reason that the museum thought was compelling enough. But like I told you, it's the kind of privilege they would offer to heroes, but never to someone who was a quote unquote villain.
What about um what about heroes who might have been cleaning up a crime scene?
Cleaning up, I mean, I think that might be possible too. Yeah, but here's the thing. I hacked their email servers and I found a list. I think this is the list of people who have had access to the meteorite. It was ridiculously easy to hack, by the way. The admin username is admin and the password is spaces fun. It's a planetarium.
Okay, I get it. That's a bad password. We're kind of time sensitive here.
Okay, fine. Do you still have the diagnosticator with you? Or did Stacy take it?
Yes.
You have it. Okay,
I still
good.
have.
All right. I can print it directly from there. I'm gonna print out the list. All right. Here, let me just and you can hear like from wherever you've got this stash, like there's like a printing noise, like a picture has printed out of it. So you open that, or you flip it over. It's a list of a bunch of names that don't mean anything to you. Like there's Dr. Whoever, Professor, whatever. Smack dab in the middle of that list is the name Lenore Caldwell.
I fucking knew it. Shit. Okay. This is helpful. I have to go.
Everyone just has to, and then the line just like drops. All right. So right now, Stacy, you are running to Aaliyah's house, right?
The Banks mansion, yes.
The Banks mansion. Alice slash witch, what is it that you're doing when you like hang up this phone?
Can I text Lenore? I'm gonna say I think it's finally time for me to open up. Can we do this in private now?
Okay, love it. You send this text off. You pretty immediately say, get a message that says, "I'm so happy to hear that." Where?
Wherever you want. Where are you at?
Um, and Lenore texts the address of well, you probably right, not that you've ever been there before, but you know the neighborhood that she lives in. It's the address of her apartment, basically. And then it just says like, "I'll buzz you in," smiley face.
I start heading over.
Okay, so Alice starts heading over, and Lee, you end up kind of like perched on a rooftop with Embry. Embry has moved you far, far away from the financial district. You are now in kind of like it's like it's like the old sort of like merchant and textile district of Halcyon City. So there's a lot of old brick buildings here. It's not nearly as crowded as like some of the other areas of the city. So you're and also you're on a rooftop, so you're pretty alone up there. And Embry sort of sets you down, and then they like point at a pigeon that has landed nearby, and they say, "Do you want me to get this guy to move, or?"
And Lee has probably been shaking, and their heartbeat has just been in their ears, and something about what Embry is saying, they just start laughing, and there are like just tears pouring down their cheeks, but they are laughing. And I mean, I think the pigeon has more right to this roof than we do right now, especially since they're the what best race something.
That's true. And they'll just kind of sort of sit there quietly. They will reach down and hold out their hand so that you can take it, but will not like grab your hand. They're just sort of are like holding it out.
I Lee just kind of like actually reaches over and just like takes their hand in both of theirs, and then just kind of like leans against their shoulder.
Um, uh, they will lean their head like on top of yours, and just say, I want you to know I was planning on asking if I could kiss you before the date was over, but I would rather do that at a time where you're not happy slash sad, crying slash laughing, and when it would be more welcome.
I think you can kiss me when you beat me at EDR.
Sorry, I gotta go practice, and we'll sort of like mime like running away, but then like return. And so we'll end with that shot of your head on your head on Embry's shoulder, their head on top of yours, and kind of the sun sort of slowly starting to set in the background. That's where we're gonna leave off. Thank you all so much for joining us on, wow, what an action-packed episode of Freezerburnt this was. Make sure to tune back in next time to see the fallout of literally all of that happened. What's going on with Lenore? What's happening at the Banks mansion? And oh my gosh, Lee and Embry, are they my OTP? The answer is yes. So, Anita, why don't you start our outro by telling our lovely viewers where they can find you and whatever else you want to tell them.
Hi, my name's Anita, and Witch is about to 1v1 the villain. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns tonight. I have been Stacy Jane, aka Coldcock, who uses she, her pronouns. And you can find me on the internet at the podcast Infinity City, an Elliot Andrews production. I'm there playing a soldier with Allie, who's playing a Janice, and it's super fun. Allie and I are both on season 2, so you can start there, not miss too much. And yeah, I'm pretty sure episode 3 airs tonight, the night that we are sort of doing this, recording this, so go check it out. It'll be fun. That's me. Oh gosh. Witch, what's gonna happen? Tell the people.
All right. I'm Mateo. You might know me around the internet as the Milk Boy. Um, you can't find me on Twitter anymore. Don't try it. I'm not there anymore. But you can find me on Blue Sky and TikTok and Instagram. certified milk boy that's certified with a Y. Um, Currently working on more games. You can get the game I already have out, Camp Cryptid, on my itch.io. Um, but I have been a witch, and I am also emotionally screaming in my head. Pass that to Alice.
Hey guys, I am Alice, she, they pronouns. Tonight I have been playing Lee Daring, also known as Kyrian. They, them pronouns, our favorite little delinquent. Um, hey, you guys ever like live in a coming of age romantic comedy when all of your friends are living in a thriller? I wonder how it's going to turn out next week. Only time can tell, but you can find me everywhere online at Alice Hart or Hellion Hart, depending on when this is airing. I will have either just released an episode, or we'll be releasing an episode next week of the podcast I play on, edit on, and produce on, called Welcome to Reddington. It's an actual play Monster of the Week podcast. Otherwise, I do try to stay pretty busy. Who knows what I'm up to, but you could probably find it on either Twitter at Hellion Heart or Blue Sky at Alice Hart. And I'm going to turn this back over to our amazing, amazing GM who has tortured us ruthlessly tonight, Allie.
Hello everybody. I have been Allie. I have been your game master for today. I too am so many things happen that I didn't expect, and I'm delighted about them as well. So you can find me at Allie_Yakta_est mouthful on most social media. I work in the video game industry, so if you're interested in that, I sometimes talk about things related to that. You can also, as Anita mentioned, find me on Infinity City, an Elliot Andrews production podcast where we're playing masks. And I'm a Janice called One Up. I have video gamey powers, and that's fun. Yeah, whoa, lots going on. But before we wrap up for the night, I gotta tell you, the creator app is always open. If you want to tell a fun story, if you want to torture your cast and cause them emotional strife, this is the place to do it. Tell your story. And also, if you want to ensure that stories like this can get told and that the people who put in the work for it can get fairly paid, you can follow on Twitch, on Twitter, on X. You can throw a Twitch subscription if you've got a free Prime sub, renew it for the month. And you could also subscribe, you could drop a couple bucks on Ko-fi if you would like, because it all goes to the incredible people making this incredible content. Last, check out girlsruntheseworlds.com for merch, for a fantastic zine collection with lots of great stuff, lots of great content for all sorts of TTRPGs. There's a bunch of really, really wonderful themes that each zine has followed that are just like some amazing stuff in there. So be sure to check it out. That's it for us. We'll see you next time. And have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is that you're watching this. Have a good one. Bye-bye.